Cole navigated the winding dirt road, each mile deeper into the dense woods, a fresh wave of grief. A colleague's sister, a brilliant astrophysicist, had died 3 months ago. Officially, it was a tragic accident. Unofficially, Cole suspected the isolation had driven her mad. Her obsession with the moon, her increasingly frantic calls about something watching, had been dismissed as grief-fueled delusion after their mother's passing. Now he was here to pack up her cabin, to find some semblance of closure, and to bury the last vestiges of her lunatic theories. The cabin was just as he remembered. Small, secluded, and overflowing with telescopes and astronomical charts. Agent motes danced in the weak sunlight filtering through the trees. A thick layer of unopened mail lay on the porch. He sighed, the air thick with the scent of pine and decay. He stepped inside. The interior was cluttered with research papers, half-eaten meals, and empty coffee cups. It was a portrait of a mind consumed. He started with the obvious, gathering her personal belongings, sorting through clothes, and boxing up photographs. The task was agonizing, each item a painful reminder of their shared past. A guard in the afternoon, tucked away in a drawer beneath a stack of star maps, he found it, a leather-bound journal. A figure pages were filled with his sister's elegant handwriting, the entries becoming increasingly erratic in the final weeks. He sat down heavily on the edge of her bed and began to read. The early entries were filled with technical observations, detailed analyses of lunar anomalies, and complex equations. Then, the tone shifted. A sense of unease crept into her words. She wrote about feeling watched, about a subtle but persistent sense of being scrutinized whenever she observed the moon. "It's irrational, I know," one entry read, "but I can't shake the feeling that it's looking back. A person just reflecting light, but observing." Cole scoffed. Paranoia. He flipped through the pages, his heart sinking with each increasingly bizarre claim. She wrote about a strange, pulsating hum she had been recording, a low-frequency resonance emanating from the moon itself. She believed it was a form of communication. He found a small handheld recorder beside the journal. Hesitantly, he pressed play. A faint, almost imperceptible hum filled the room. It was low, resonant, and unsettling. He frowned. A witness, just a faulty device picking up some kind of interference. He continued reading, his skepticism slowly eroding. Her final entries were filled with terror. She wrote of nightmares, of shadows moving on the lunar surface, of a growing conviction that something ancient and malevolent was stirring within the moon. "It knows I'm watching," she wrote in her last entry, "and it doesn't want to be seen." He slammed the journal shut, his hands trembling. This was madness. He had to get out of here. He stood up, knocking over a stack of papers. An officer he bent to pick them up, he noticed a small, yellow sticky note attached to one of the charts. It contained a single word, scrawled in his sister's handwriting. "Listen." He grabbed the recorder again, his heart pounding in his chest. He pressed play. The hum was still there, but now he could swear it was. Louder, a detective insistent. Suddenly, a sharp crackle came from the old radio sitting on the desk. It sputtered to life, filling the room with static. Then a voice, distorted and low, cut through the noise. "Can you hear me?" Cole froze, every muscle in his body tensed. He looked around the room, his breath catching in his throat. "Who's there?" he managed to croak out. The static crackled again. "We've been expecting you." He backed away from the radio, his mind reeling. This couldn't be happening. It had to be some kind of elaborate prank. "What do you want?" he demanded, his voice trembling. The voice on the radio chuckled, a low, guttural sound that sent a shiver down his spine. "We want you to listen." "Cole, we need to reconsider," the colleague said. "I'm listening," Cole replied. "Show me," Cole said. "I'm listening," Cole replied. Show me, Cole said. I'm listening, Cole replied. Show me, Cole said. Interesting. We want you to listen. The words hung in the air, thick with static and a chilling finality. Cole stumbled backward, tripping over a discarded telescope tripod. He landed hard on the dusty floorboards, his gaze fixed on the antique radio. It hummed, a low, malevolent thrum that seemed to vibrate in his very bones, mirroring the sound from the recorder. A colleague's heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence that followed the voice. Hello? He croaked, his voice barely a whisper. Is anyone there? The colleague, the static, replied, a hiss like 1,000 whispering snakes. He scrambled to his feet, his eyes darting around the cluttered cabin. A colleague's shadow seemed to stretch. Every creak of the old house sounded like footsteps. This was impossible. A prank, it had to be. An agent-sick joke his sister's research partners had concocted, knowing he would eventually come to clear out her things. But the voice, it felt too real, too ancient. He lunged for the radio, yanking the plug from the wall. The static died instantly, plunging the cabin into an unnerving quiet. A colleague, the faint, almost imperceptible hum from the handheld recorder remained. A persistent drone that now felt less like interference and more like a heartbeat. He snatched the recorder, shoving it into his pocket. He needed to get out. He needed to leave this place, this cabin filled with his sister's madness. But then, his eyes fell on the journal, open to the last terrifying entry. It knows I'm watching, and it doesn't want to be seen. The sticky note. Listen. And the seismic charts, hinting at patterns he hadn't yet deciphered. He couldn't just leave. A colleague yet. A colleague when his sister's last moments were screaming for an explanation. He had to prove her wrong, prove that her death was a tragic accident, not the consequence of some malevolent lunar entity. He had to find the scientific flaw, the logical fallacy that had consumed her. He walked over to his sister's desk, pulling out her laptop. It powered on, displaying a wallpaper of the full moon, eerily bright. He navigated through her files, his fingers trembling slightly as he opened the folder labeled Lunar the Guard Project. Inside, thousands of data logs, spectral analyses, and, most prominently, seismic activity graphs from various observatories. He pulled up a specific data set, a series of low-frequency lunar tremors his sister had meticulously cataloged. He stared at the screen, trying to approach it with a scientist's dispassionate eye to find the noise, the anomaly, the human error. He imagined a rational, skeptical mind by his side, a colleague challenging his sister's conclusions. Cole, we need to reconsider, he muttered, almost as if a colleague were standing beside him, questioning his sister's sanity. He stared at the screen, at the jagged lines of seismic activity. I'm listening, Cole replied, his voice barely a whisper in the silent cabin, addressing the phantom presence. The data doesn't add up, the imagined colleague pressed, pointing to a specific anomaly on the screen. Show me, Cole said, leaning closer, scrutinizing the patterns. Here, see these patterns? The mental voice prompted, highlighting a sequence of tremors. Cole nodded slowly. Interesting. He traced the pattern with his finger. It's just noise, Cole. The colleague's voice echoed in his mind, trying to dismiss it. Is it? Cole countered, his brow furrowed. Or is it? Too perfect. He zoomed in, isolating a particularly striking sequence. It wasn't random. It couldn't be. There was a rhythm to it, a subtle, repeating pulse that defied geological explanation. He spent hours cross-referencing, running algorithms. A colleague attempt to dismiss it as natural interference failed. The patterns were too precise, too consistent across multiple independent sensor arrays. It was a coded message, he realized with a growing dread, not mere seismic activity. A non-random, intelligent Cole. We need to reconsider, the colleague said. I'm listening, Cole replied. Show me, Cole 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 said. Interesting. Cole stared at the screen, at the jagged lines of seismic activity. I'm listening, Cole replied. Show me, Cole said. 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 A non-random, intelligent signal emanating from the heart of the moon. He leaned back in his sister's chair, the revelation hitting him with the force of a physical blow. This wasn't just grief driving him. It wasn't a desperate attempt to rationalize the inexplicable. A colleague's sister had been right. He looked at the clock. 2:17 a.m. He needed help, someone who understood astrophysics, someone he could trust. He reached for his phone and scrolled through his contacts. He found the number he was searching for and hesitated for a moment before pressing call. The phone rang several times before a sleepy voice answered. Hello? It's Cole, he said, his voice tight. I need your help. Cole, what time is it? The voice asked, laced with confusion. I know it's late, but this is important. I need access to some restricted lunar spectral charts. Agent, you get them for me? There was a pause. Restricted? Cole, you know I can't just... Please, Cole interrupted. I can't explain now, but it's about my sister. It's about her research. The voice softened. All right, guard me an hour. Where are you? Cole gave him the address of the cabin and hung up. He paced the floor, the weight of his sister's discovery pressing down on him. He glanced out the window, drawn to the moon hanging heavy in the night sky. It seemed to pulse with an unnatural light, a silent invitation. He tore his gaze away, disgusted by the pull he felt towards it. A figure hour later, a car pulled up outside the cabin. A technician stepped out, holding a laptop. Here, the technician said, handing it to Cole. I managed to download the Level 3 spectral charts. A person careful with these. They're not meant for public consumption. Thank you, Cole said, taking the laptop. I owe you one. Just be careful, Cole, and tell me what this is all about when you can. The technician got back in his car and drove away. Cole returned to his sister's desk and opened the laptop. The spectral charts filled the screen, a complex tapestry of colors and wavelengths. He began to cross-reference them with the seismic activity graphs, searching for a correlation. He was looking for an energy signature, something that didn't belong, something that couldn't be explained by natural lunar processes. He found it. A localized energy source, deep within the far side of the moon. It was faint, but undeniably present. And it wasn't static. It was growing, pulsating. He ran a frequency analysis on the energy signature. The result made his blood run cold. It matched the frequency of the hum on his sister's recorder. He stumbled back from the desk, his heart pounding in his chest. It was all connected. The seismic activity, the spectral anomalies, the hum, his sister's research, and something else. He remembered a book he had seen on his sister's shelf, a dusty tome on ancient lunar mythology. He found it and flipped through the brittle pages. He scanned the text, searching for any reference to the patterns he had seen. Finally, he found it. A passage describing a sleeping eye in the heavens, an ancient entity slumbering within the moon, waiting to awaken. The witness stirs, he read aloud, his voice trembling, and when it opens, the world will tremble. He slammed the book shut, his mind reeling. This was insane. Mythology, ancient texts, sentient lunar entities. It was all too much, but the scientific of the seismic activity graphs, spectral charts, and the hum of the recorder was undeniable. This can't be real, he whispered to himself. He glanced out the window again. The moon hung in the sky, a silent, watchful presence. He could almost feel it, a faint vibration in the air, a low, resonant hum that seemed to emanate from the depths of space. "No," he said, his voice firm. "I won't let it." He closed the laptop and grabbed his coat. He had to get more information. He had to understand what was happening, and he had to stop it before it was too late. He grabbed the recorder and headed out the door, into the cold, moonlit night. Cole gripped the recorder, the cold metal a stark contrast to the sweat on his palms. He had to show someone. He had to make them believe him. He drove to the observatory, the moon a constant companion in his rearview mirror. The closer he got, the stronger the feeling became, a sense of being watched, scrutinized. He parked outside the observatory and hurried inside, the recorder clutched tightly in his hand. A scientist was working late, hunched over a console, the glow of the monitors illuminating his face. "I need your help," Cole said, his voice urgent. The scientist looked up, startled. "Cole, what are you doing here? It's about my sister's research." The scientist sighed. "Cole, we've been over this. There was nothing there." "That's not true," Cole insisted, holding out the recorder. "Listen to this." He pressed play, the low, resonant hum filling the room. The scientist frowned, his brow furrowed in concentration. "What is that?" the scientist asked. "It's a frequency," Cole explained. "A frequency that matches a spectral anomaly I found on the lunar charts." "Lunar charts? What lunar charts?" "Restricted charts," Cole admitted. "I got them from a technician. Look, just listen to this, and then look at these." He pulled out the laptop and opened the spectral charts. The scientist listened to the hum again, then examined the charts. He ran a few quick analyses, his expression growing increasingly concerned. "This is unusual," the scientist conceded. "Where did you get this information?" "It doesn't matter," Cole said. "What matters is that it's real. There's something happening on the moon, something we don't understand." "What do you think it is?" the scientist asked, his voice laced with skepticism. Cole hesitated. I think it's sentient." The scientist stared at him, his eyes wide. "Sentient? Cole, that's impossible." "Is it?" Cole challenged. "Look at the evidence. The seismic activity, the spectral anomalies, the frequency. It's all connected, and it's getting stronger." The scientist shook his head. "I don't know, Cole. This is a lot to take in." "I know," Cole said, "but I need you to believe me. I need your help." "What do you want me to do?" the scientist asked. "I need you to run some advanced image processing on the lunar surface scans. A colleague for anything. Out of the ordinary." The scientist hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "All right," the scientist said. "I'll do it." Cole watched as the scientist began to work, his fingers flying across the keyboard. A colleague passed, the only sound the hum of the computers and the occasional click of a mouse. Cole paced the floor, his anxiety growing with each passing moment. Finally, the scientist stopped typing. He stared at the screen, his face pale. "What is it?" Cole asked, his voice barely a whisper. The scientist didn't answer. He simply pointed at the screen. Cole moved closer and gasped. There, on the lunar surface, was something impossible. A massive structure, or perhaps an organism, impossibly ancient, lying dormant beneath the surface. It was subtle, almost imperceptible. But it was there, and it was shifting. "I don't understand," Cole said, his voice trembling. "What is that?" The scientist shook his head. "I don't know," the scientist said, "but it's not natural." Cole remembered the book, The Ancient Mythology. The Agent I. He felt a chill run down his spine. "There's something else," the scientist said, pointing to another part of the screen. "Enhanced spectral analysis. A colleague at this energy signature." Cole leaned in, his eyes widening in horror. The energy signature was growing exponentially. "It's waking up," Cole whispered. He remembered his sister's final, frantic note. He reached into his pocket and pulled it out, his hands shaking as he unfolded the crumpled piece of paper. He read the words again, his blood running cold. "It's not sleeping," he read aloud. "It's listening." He stared out the window at the moon, now full and bright in the night sky. He could almost feel its gaze, cold and ancient, fixed upon him. "We have to do something," Cole said, his voice filled with dread. "Before it's too late." "Cole, we need to reconsider," the colleague said. "I'm listening," Cole replied. "Show me," Cole said. "I'm listening," Cole replied. "Show me," Cole said. "I'm listening," Cole replied. "The patterns don't add up," the colleague said. "Show me," Cole said. The scientist, still pale, spun around in his chair. "What do we do?" the scientist asked, his voice trembling. "We have to understand it," Cole said, his gaze fixed on the screen. "What does it want?" "Want?" the scientist scoffed. "It's a giant thing. What could it possibly want?" "I don't know," Cole admitted. "But my sister, she was close. She felt it somehow. A colleague, it killed her." The scientist looked at him, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and disbelief. "Killed her? You think this thing killed your sister?" "I know it did," Cole said, his voice firm. "Her research. It was all connected to this. The seismic anomalies, the energy signatures. She was getting too close." "Too close to what?" the scientist asked. "I don't know yet," Cole said, "but I'm going to find out." He turned back to the screen, his eyes scanning the enhanced images. The structure, or organism, was still shifting, its movements subtle but undeniable. The energy signature was growing stronger, pulsing with an unnatural light. "We need more information," Cole said. "Everything my sister had, agent notes, her research, everything." "It's all been archived," the scientist said, "locked away, after what happened." "I need access," Cole said. "Now." The scientist hesitated. "I don't know if I can do that, Cole. There were restrictions." "Restrictions be damned," Cole snapped. "My sister died because of this. I deserve to know the truth." The scientist sighed. All right. I'll see what I can do." A guard the scientist went to retrieve his sister's research. Cole stared out the window at the moon. It seemed to be growing larger, its surface details clearer than ever before. He could almost feel its presence. A cold, alien intelligence watching him, studying him. He shivered, despite the warmth of the observatory. "It's not sleeping," he muttered to himself. "It's listening." A technician rushed into the room, his face flushed with panic. "Have you seen the news?" the technician blurted out. The reports?" "What reports?" the scientist asked, turning around. "Strange events," the technician said, his voice shaking. "All over the world, people acting strangely. A figure to the moon. A person they hear a call." Cole's blood ran cold. "A call?" he repeated. "Yes," the technician said. "They say they hear a voice coming from the moon. A voice that promises enlightenment." "Enlightenment?" the scientist said, his brow furrowed. "What are you talking about?" "I don't know," the technician said, "but it's happening everywhere. A witness hysteria. A officer are losing it." Cole felt a wave of dread wash over him. "It's starting," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "It's influencing them." "Influencing who?" the scientist asked. "Everyone," Cole said. "It's a psychic predator. It's feeding on their minds." The scientist stared at him, his eyes wide with disbelief. "You're saying this thing on the moon is controlling people's minds?" "I don't know how it's doing it," Cole said, "but I know it's happening. The call. It's an invitation. A lure. The technician looked from Cole to the scientist, his face etched with confusion and fear. "What do we do?" the technician asked. "What can we do?" "We have to stop it," Cole said, his voice filled with grim determination. "Before it consumes us all." "How?" the scientist asked. "How do you stop something like that?" Cole looked out at the moon, its cold, silent gaze piercing through him. "I don't know yet," he said, "but I'm going to find a way." He thought of his sister, her dedication, her sacrifice. He owed it to her, to everyone, to stop this thing, no matter the cost. "First," Cole said, turning back to the scientist, "we need to understand what it is." "Cole, we need to reconsider," the colleague said. "I'm listening," Cole replied. "Show me," Cole 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 said. "Interesting." "What is it?" the technician asked, his voice trembling. "An anomaly," Cole said, his eyes glued to the screen. "A disruption in the usual lunar activity." "But what does it mean?" the scientist asked. "It means my sister was right," Cole said. "There's something there, a colleague alive." "Alive? Agent the Moon?" the technician scoffed. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Cole asked, turning to face him. "Or is it just something we don't understand yet?" The technician looked away, his face pale. "I don't like this," he muttered. "I want to go home." "Not yet," Cole said. "We need you here. A guard needs your help." "Help with what?" the technician asked. "Fighting a monster on the moon?" "Understanding it," Cole corrected. "Understanding is the first step." The scientist returned, carrying a stack of files. "Here," he said, placing them on the table. "Her research. A figure we could find." Cole grabbed the top file, his hands trembling. It was his sister's handwriting scrawled across the cover. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely a whisper. He opened the file and began to read, his eyes scanning the pages. Equations, diagrams, notes. It was all there. A person obsession, her passion, her fear. "What is it?" the scientist asked, peering over his shoulder. "What did she find?" "A pattern," Cole said, his voice growing stronger. "A frequency, a signal of some kind." "A signal?" the technician asked. "From the moon?" "Yes," Cole said. "And I think it's what's causing the strange events." He flipped through the pages, his mind racing. A witness sister had been close. So close. She had almost cracked the code. She was trying to counteract it, Cole said, to disrupt the signal. "How?" the scientist asked. "How do you disrupt something like that?" Cole pointed to a series of equations. "With another frequency," he said. "A counter-frequency, but she never completed it." "Can you?" the technician asked. "Can you complete it?" Cole looked at the equations, his brow furrowed. It was complex, intricate. But he understood it. He could see what his sister had been trying to do. "I think so," he said. "But I'll need time and resources." "You'll have both," the scientist said. "Anything you need." Cole nodded, his gaze fixed on the equations. He could feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. The fate of humanity rested on his ability to decipher his sister's research and complete her work. He worked tirelessly, fueled by grief and determination. The scientist and the technician assisted, providing him with whatever he needed. The officer turned into days, days into nights. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, he had it. The counter-frequency. The key to disrupting the moon's influence. "I've got it," he said, his voice hoarse. "I've completed it." "What now?" the technician asked, his eyes wide with anticipation. "Now," Cole said, "we broadcast it." Broadcast it? The scientist asked. How? We use the observatory's antenna, Cole said. It's powerful enough to reach the moon. They raced to the antenna, their hearts pounding. Cole input the frequency into the system, his fingers trembling. Ready? He asked. The scientist and the technician nodded, their faces pale. Cole took a deep breath and pressed the button. A wave of energy surged through the antenna, blasting into the sky. He watched as the signal traveled towards the moon, a beacon of hope in the darkness. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the energy signature on the screen flickered, wavered, and died. The technician gasped. Did it work? He asked. Cole didn't answer. He was staring at the moon, his eyes wide with disbelief. The moon was changing. A detective surface was shifting, twisting, becoming something alien, something horrifying. No, Cole whispered. It's not working, it's getting stronger. Suddenly, a voice filled his head, a cold, alien voice that spoke directly to his mind. Join them, Cole, a specialist, the lunar consciousness, a technician one with the moon. Cole screamed, clutching his head. The voice was overwhelming, seductive, promising him power, knowledge, enlightenment. He fought back, resisting with all his might. He thought of his sister, her sacrifice, her warning. He would not let this thing consume him. He focused on the counter-frequency, amplifying it with his own will. The voice faltered, weakened. But it did not disappear. You cannot resist, Cole. They are inevitable. You will be ours. Cole knew he was losing. The moon's influence was too strong, too pervasive. He could feel his mind slipping away, his consciousness dissolving. But he would not give up. He would fight to the very end. A colleague, a final surge of will. He poured all of his energy into the counter-frequency, amplifying it to its maximum potential. The antenna glowed white-hot, straining under the pressure. Then, with a deafening roar, it exploded. Cole was thrown back, his body slamming against the wall. He lay there, dazed and bleeding, his mind reeling. The voice was gone. The moon was silent. He looked up at the sky, his eyes filled with tears. A colleague he won? A colleague he saved humanity? An agent had he simply delayed the inevitable? The moon hung in the sky, cold and silent, its secrets still hidden, its intentions still unknown. A guard time would tell.